This story is 100% true and not fiction. Might not be too scary, but it's very odd. Backstory. My grandma's fiance passed away from cancer when I was less than a year old. I'll call him Peter Smith in this story. He was buried in the province over from us. A few years ago, my mom and me and my grandma were going to visit his grave on his birthday or death anniversary. It was one of the two, I can't remember right now. The morning of, my grandma was getting ready to pick us up. She got a phone call and answered it. It was a doctor saying my grandma was a first contact for this matter, and that Peter's test results were in. She has a brother named Peter as well. So she asked my brother. The doctor responded, "No, Peter Smithson." My grandma was shocked and said he died years ago. The doctor said there must have been a mix-up and hung up. We went on a road trip, and my grandma was still in shock the whole time. Now, any other day of the year this could have been written off, but on his death anniversary B-Day, it isn't. Plus, his real name is not common, so I don't know. This is one of the ghost stories I tell. A lot of things went down in this house, but out of all the spooky things that have happened to me there, this one just crossed my mind after 18 years. I was 14 years old, living in Orange County with my two sisters and my mother. We had a rough upbringing, so renting an actual house was like a dream come true for us at that time, until we realized we were living in a haunted house. I was with my mom the day we rented it. The garage was scary as hell, even in the daylight with people around. It just always gave me a clustered feeling of something being there I couldn't see. When the garage door was shut, it was pitch black. No light at all from the outside could get through the garage door. During the summer, I would wake up early. I would listen to my CDs on my radio, so every time I came in or out, I made sure my bedroom door was shut, because my mom liked to sleep in the living room on the couch right outside my bedroom. I would clean my room, the kitchen, and bathroom before I would ask my mom if I could meet my best friend at our halfway mark. This particular morning, the funky, spooky things of the house started early. As I walked out of the bedroom, shut my door, walked down the hall passing 2 bedrooms to the restroom, I noticed something out of the corner of my eye in the kitchen, like a silhouette of a person that vanished. This was normal though. My mom's bedroom was directly outside the bathroom doorway to the right, and it had a private bathroom which led to the garage. Well, as I was walking out the restroom, I seen a person walking into my mother's room, like a woman, which I assumed was my mother, since we were the only ones home. Thinking it was my mom, I was talking to her about leaving to my friends, and the bedroom door shut on my face. And I was thinking, wow, she's rude today. So I opened the door and again asked if I could go to my friends, when her bathroom door started shutting. When I opened the bathroom door and said, "Mom," I realized the garage door was wide open. The garage door was heavy and did not stay open on its own ever. It was pitch black. In that moment, I knew it wasn't my mother. So I ran out, shut her bedroom door behind me, and started towards my bedroom, when I noticed my bedroom door was wide open. I was standing in the room confused, and realized my radio was off. I tried turning it on multiple times, and seeing it was actually unplugged. I went to the living room to wake up my mom, and asked if she had went into my room to unplug my radio. She said she didn't ever go into my room or touch my radio that morning because she was sleeping still. I don't know why I had to ask if she went into the garage though, through her bedroom for clarification, but needless to say, it wasn't her either. She asked me to please not leave her there alone, but I did, and I feel bad still. Anyways, that night I didn't want to come back home. I know whatever it was, it wanted me in that garage alone. When my sister was young, probably about 5 or 6, we had just moved into a new house as a family. My sister was always good about sleeping by herself at night, which was ironic given how I myself was not. But regardless, she gave her parents little trouble sleeping by herself ever. Except one night when she had a particularly rough night and went downstairs to ask my mom to come sleep with her. Because, as little kids tend to do, she got scared. Mom goes upstairs with her and lies down. My sister falls asleep, but my mom is struggling to fall asleep. That is until Dad gets in bed behind her, holding them both. Helps Mom fall asleep, they all pass out together. Mom wakes up and Dad isn't in bed with them anymore. That's fairly typical. My dad gets up super early to go to work most mornings and lets my mom sleep in, so she thinks nothing of it until he gets home. She asked him when he came upstairs to sleep with them last night, as he was asleep when my sister first asked Mom to come to bed with her. Dad replies that he never left their bed. He slept by himself downstairs all night. So who the hell got in bed with my mom? Hello there, everyone. Today, if you will indulge me, I would like to tell you a few of the times I have had paranormal experiences and seen paranormal stuff. There aren't any images or anything, so sadly I just have my own memory to go off of. These are multiple small stories, but are all 100% true. These, however, do take place in 2 different locations. I changed the name just for privacy reasons. But that is the only thing that is altered in these stories. Everything is again 100% true. This may be a longer post, so without any more stalling, let's get started. The first story is the only one that I can not remember, given the fact that I was only 3 to 4 years old. So this is my mother telling of the story. This all begins about 19 years ago. The house that my parents first moved into was originally an old church, but was remodeled into being a house. Not much of the old church was left in the house, minus the wood flooring in the den. Now apparently, my parents had heard choir music, the sounds of boots on hardwood floors, and had even seen a shadow figure once. But as for what happened to me, my parents were trying to move me from sleeping in their bedroom to my room, but for some reason I wouldn't do it. My only reason being I was scared to. So my mom asked me, "Why are you scared to sleep in your own room? Do you need a nightlight maybe?" And apparently I said, and I quote, "Because of the tall dark man in the corner over there." Then apparently I pointed over to a corner of my room, where, surprise, surprise, no one was. A few other things that happened in that house, but none to me personally. If there is an interest, I can make a separate post on it. Fast forward a few years and we're at our second house. Now this is where shit starts to get crazy. I feel like I should preface by saying there is a room in my house. We'll just call it the den. Since day 1 of being in the house, I never liked that room. I felt like I was being watched every time I was in there alone. So I did everything in my power to stay out of that room. I still do even to this day. The first incident was when I was no older than 9 or 10. It was the first day of school for me and my little brother Mark. Me, my mom, and Mark were at the house. Mark realized he left his towel at school and needed to go back and get it. My mom then turns to me and said, "Are you okay staying at the house for 10 minutes while we go back up to school and get it?" I said I was. The school is less than a mile from where we were at. A few minutes after they left, I am sitting in the living room and I start to hear my mom and Mark talking from my mother's bathroom. Even though I am completely home alone, I think I hear them just start laughing. Then it stops and everything was quiet. A few minutes later, my mom and Mark walked back into the house. However, 10-year-old me didn't even bother to mention it for some reason. A few years go by until the next incident. Now, before we keep going, I need to explain 2 things to you, dear reader. First thing, I need to tell you that personally I am very much so a night owl. Staying up 3 or 4 in the morning is nothing new to me. The second thing, in my house, there's a hallway, and at one end is the front door, and at the other end is the back door. Now, this hallway has 4 doorways, entryways. The den, the office, the kitchen, and my parents' room. The kitchen has a bar so you're able to see the whole living room and into my parents' room, if their door is open. And then further up, next to the front door, is the den. The next story takes place a few months ago. 2-ish at night, I'm standing in the kitchen washing dishes, and as I'm doing so, I hear 2 things crystal fucking clear, coming from the den down the hallway. I hear an old man go, "Shh," followed by a little girl giggling. I freeze in the middle of what I'm doing. I am the only person awake right now. I don't have a little sister, and both Mark and my dad are asleep. I'm the only person awake. Now, at that point, I am panicking on the inside. However, I am trying to keep my composure on the outside. I turn off the water in the sink and walk to my parents' bedroom. I then shake my dad awake and say, "Is there anyone else in this house besides me, you, and Mark?" He simply said, "No, there isn't," and just falls back asleep. Annoyed, I walk out of my parents' room, and I am immediately looking down the hallway, right towards the den, and there's nothing, just like there should be. I sigh and I go back doing dishes, because ghost or no ghost, I still have chores that need to be done. The next night, again, same story. I'm doing dishes. Now, something to note. I had just stood up and my shorts slipped a bit and I pulled them back up. So now the front half of my shirt is untucked, while the back half of my shirt is tucked into my shorts. As I'm washing dishes, I feel something grab the back of my shirt and pop it, very similar to the way your mom would grab you to fix your shirt by popping and pulling it out of your pants or shorts. And surprise, surprise, that's just what the fucking ghost did. They untucked my shirt from the back of my shorts. I just simply ignored it and kept washing dishes. But again, inside I'm very terrified. One other incident I forgot to mention. Next to the den there is a room. We just simply call it the office, like I said above. There is a few things in this room. 2 recliners, the family computer, a mini fridge, and most importantly of all, the router. Now again, it's about 1-ish at night, and the Wi-Fi is being extremely slow for some reason. I groan, get up, and head into the office. Now again, the office and den are right next to each other. So I never like going in the office alone, especially at night. But tonight I had to. So I go into the office, go to the router, press the restart button, and then sit down on one of the recliners we have in there while I'm waiting for the Wi-Fi to reset. Now the office door is actually a twin set of doors that both open the same way. So there's a small gap in between them. And where does that small gap look into? Right into that damn den. So I'm sitting there. I can't shake this feeling that I am being stared at. Like 2 eyes are looking at me, burrowing into my soul. I shake my head and I try to ignore the feeling. After the box resets, I head back to the room and lay down on my bed. And that's when I feel it. A red hot, burning pain on my hand. I look down at my hand and there are 3 bright red scratch marks on it. Fast forward a few months, nothing happens. Just the same old feeling that you're being watched wherever you go. Until one night, the metaphorical dam finally burst. I'm headed to bed. Now, this involves making sure the front and back door are both locked. So first thing I check is the front door. It's locked. So I walk down the hallway, reach the back door, and then lock it. And then turn around, and I see a half a person walking into my den. The lower half. It cut off right at the waist. Now, this person was completely see-through and sort of gray, like the ghost in the Harry Potter movies. So I stand there for a few seconds in pure disbelief at what I just saw. I then very quickly walked to my room and shut the door behind me, because everyone clearly knows that ghosts can't follow you into your bedroom. The most recent incident was last month. This time I was not the only person awake. However, I was the only person in the house. My dad was out in the garage working, so I am standing in the kitchen eating a sandwich. It's important to note as well, my parents' door was open in the story. So I look up from my food for a second and I see again half a person standing in my parents' room. But this time it's the top half. I look back down at my food. It's only after about half a second that my brain processed what the hell I just saw. I then quickly looked back up in my parents' room and there was nothing. No one was there. Now there we are in this now. Nothing new has happened as of late. However, the feeling of being watched at night grows stronger by the day. It's actually gotten to the point where I don't like to be out into the kitchen or anything at night. Also, before anyone asks, no, I'm not the only person who has experienced stuff. Both my parents and Mark have as well. Anyways, thank you for allowing me the chance to hopefully entertain you or even scare you if I'm lucky. I hope you enjoyed my stories. If anything happens, I'll be sure to write another post.